In my 10th episode, I sat down for a lively chat with DJ Nish. We talked about impact of classics like Dil Chahta Hai on the Indian music scene, how DJ Nish connects with his audience and hits them with nostalgia, fun songs he likes to play, and some dance floor secrets. We also talked about the business of DJing, tips for newcomers, impact of TikTok on this profession. Can't believe it, right? Plus a hot tip. If you're in Austin, Texas, DJ Nish is throwing his next party on April 27th. Book your tickets now. This episode is for anyone who enjoys Bollywood music or any Indian music. Tune in and have fun. Hey Nishant, welcome to the Hustlers podcast. Thank you for being a guest on my show. Could you please introduce yourself, what you do?
Hey guys, my name is Nishant Bandarwala. It's a very long last name, and I have suffered in the United States with that last name for many years. Now people just know P for Paul, O for Orange, R for Rabbit, and it goes on all the way to A. So I've kind of memorized that. Most people in Austin know me by DJ Nish, and I've been a DJ for now nearly 22 years, 23 years. Yeah, it's been a long time.
And when did you move to US?
So I moved in 2000. I went to the University of Texas at Austin, go Longhorns. And then I took my time, enjoyed life. Had the world's best experience at college. That's when the kida or the bug for DJing kind of came in, and it's all thanks to my brother who kind of introduced me to it. He was majorly into music, but mostly English music. He had about 300-400 CDs, and that time a CD collection was like a prized possession, it was like Bitcoin for the days. That's how he started, and he was part of this Indian Cultural Association at UT. Which is like a student body association for pretty much desis coming from India. And so out there, he started, playing music, and he used to play pretty much English music. He didn't like Hindi music that much. But because these are desis from India, we started playing a little bit of Hindi music, Chane Ke Khet Mein and all that time, DDLJ, and things like that was Chaya was big. So that's how he started. And then when I came in 2001, I kind of chaperoned him and shadowed him for a while. And then he had to get his H1 stamped in Canada. And there was a party with ICA during the same period. And he said, my brother can DJ, he's been here and shadowing and helping me. So that was my first entrance into the DJing system. So I knew what to do. But I was so scared. I was petrified. I wrote up all the 85, 90 songs that I wanted to play. I told my friends $5 each, please dance for the whole night. Somehow they survived. The night went by, and that's when that bug hit. It's an adrenaline rush. When people dance to your music, it's being on stage, being the center of attraction. All that kind of things is something that I think was ingrained in me, which just came out through DJing.
And how many people did you pay off for that night?
In the end, you never give anything to your friends, but I just want I will pay them if they dance throughout the night. So it was free, but it was a good experience, and it was people always think from the outside that DJing is a very easy profession. करना क्या यहाँ पे गाने डालने लोग तो नाचेंगे. But I promise you, if anyone comes behind the DJ console and tries to DJ, they will realize they'll be sweating bricks like this. It is a nerve-wracking job, and the way I describe it to a lot of people is that it's like a chess game, where you have your moves ready, but if the crowd doesn't dance to this part, then you need to have the next move, change your chal, change the way you're going to move that that rook or the bishop, and see what what you're going to play next. So it's like a chess game. You're playing 3 moves ahead, and if any move goes wrong, then you better have other moves to go by.
So I was going to get to that DJ part later, but you started talking very interesting stuff. But so how does this work? You started describing, you prepare a list of songs and 85, 90 songs, at least in your first gig. But how does this work? Can you walk us through the process of, let's say you're doing a DJing for a party. What do you do?
So a lot of DJs will go blank and say, listen, I have enough experience and I will just go into this with what the audience gives back. It's like, but I like to have a framework. Like, hey, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to go with this, and if this doesn't work, or if this does work, I know my rest of my night very easily. Like, I know how someone will react to Sidhu Moosewala and react to London Dhamalka. Two different Punjabi songs, but two different crowds. If someone likes Sidhu Moosewala, then he's going to like AP Dillon, he's going to like Shubh, he's going to like, all that.
Okay, so we have that.
But if someone likes, yeah, so that comes with experience, and I'm watching the crowd constantly. More than, so I'm thinking of my next song. I'll say I'm constantly watching the crowd. As soon as I take all these cues from the crowd. I'm seeing people are singing the song. I see, is this an old school crowd? Is this a nostalgia crowd? Like, is it like, DDLJ, Kal Ho Na Ho, Mahi Ve, Where's the Party Tonight? Like, all these songs, if I play one song, like Uf Teri Ada, or like Tum Hi Ho Bandhu, and you know what, they reacted very differently to that song. That means it's an old school crowd. I need to get more old school into this. But sometimes, that bombs totally. Like, what, people do not react the way they should react on Uf Teri Ada. You know what, they want probably more newer songs. So then I'm going to play newer songs. So just watching the crowd, understanding what they're going to do. That's what I'm saying, it's like a chess game. Because if they don't like this, then I'm like, what, I need to jump to a different genre and test that out.
So then you have your songs in pocket, few songs from this type of music, that type. But there's a lot more to DJ, right? It's not just playing a song. You have to add beats and stuff. Is that wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And DJing, is varied. And, for me, it's a little different. The way I see DJing, especially comes to Bollywood and Punjabi and, apne gaane jo hote, desi gaane. The way I like to think is playing the right song at the right time. So that's what I kind of emphasize most on. Like 60-70% for me is to play the right song at the right time, right? I can't start the night playing Rang Barse. Rang Barse is a song that you play when people are like, little tipsy, are little like, into the zone, and then you surprise them with the Rang Barse. I can't start the night with Rang Barse or Khai Ke Paan Banaras Wala, or something like that. So there's a certain song that goes certain timings. That's the way I see it. So for me, I'll start with irrelevant songs, but songs that will keep people on the dance floor to start the night off. Then slowly, I'll pick it up to a level. And a lot of DJs don't do that. A lot of DJs will, so there's something called BPM, which is beats per minute, and that's how you mix songs. You try to match the beats of each song with each other, and so it's kind of seamlessly transitions into the next song. And that's great when it comes to EDM, house music, even for some hip hop. It's very easy because EDM, pretty much everything is 128 to 135 BPM. So you're only playing with 7. But with us, it's very different. A Rang Barse has a very different emotion. But like, Let's Nacho, which is like a 135 BPM, and Rang Barse is a maybe 85, 90 BPM. So very different genres, and we react very differently to it. So the Indian crowd is a very different crowd. They're very like, apne ko dil pe lagna chahiye, and that's what I want to hit. Like, I want to get people in that, oh wow, this is something different. Like, oh, I didn't expect this. So it's that surprise element also. Yeah, we're emotional people, end of the day. So if I can hit your emotion, if I can get you nostalgic about some part of your life, then I think I've won the battle. And that's what creates a moment.
But how do you mix the songs? I guess you pick the songs, you have a strategy. Don't you have to mix the songs, I don't know, or do you mix the songs?
Yeah, so we mix it with BPMs, right? With beats per minute, right? So you start a song and you say, times are changing because now it's TikTok Zamana. And in TikTok Zamana is that in Insta Reels, you don't like something, you swipe these days. So you don't have patience for more than 30 seconds to like, hey man, I don't like that song, I'm going to swipe left, But I'm like, listen man, if I play 30 seconds of every song, the night's going to get over pretty quick. So, when I used to first start DJing, we used to play like 2.5 minutes of a song. Or pretty much close to the whole song at once upon a time, like back in the early 2000s. As things progressed, it became 2 minutes, for the longest time, we did a minute 30, but the first stands and maybe the second stands, and then you would mix it out. But now I'm doing like a minute 15, and we're like, you know what, first dance, people are ready and ready to move on.
I understand it's TikTok generation, quick change, short attention spans and all.
Yeah.
But how did you realize that? Did people come and tell you don't play for 2 minutes, 3 minutes? How did you read that?
I mean, over time, you see the energy of the crowd decreasing. And like, listen, everyone, as a DJ, you make mistake. You play a song, you're like, you know, this song is bombed. Really
That's
bad.
when
So you try to change it.
That's when we shout DJ
Yeah.
sucks. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, F the DJ. Yeah, they do that. अभी तक नहीं हुआ मेरे साथ, but एक दिन तो होगा ही. You know, I make it a point to talk to my audience after the party, and you know, mostly people know the name, they don't know the face, and so I'll just like, you know, I'll go to the. This is usually what I do, okay, and it's kind of disgusting, but you know, I go to the urinal. And you know the men are just standing next to me, like, "Arey, music कैसा है यार?" Like, हाँ रे, अच्छा मजा आ रहा है. अच्छा, what are you liking? What you don't like? You know, so I'll ask these guys in a very candid, and you know how men are, we sit and chit chat with each other, looking at each other, and you know. So there is a good point where, you know, I've cornered them, they have to answer something. So I talk to people like that. I ask them, you know, and if they recognize me, then I have no value.
Got it. That is very.
Because no one's going to really, yeah, like people. But I do make it a point to chat with my party people end of the night, or even afterwards, maybe at some other party. Like, you know, how can I become better?
So earlier you went from, like, when you started, you went from 3-minute songs to now 1 minute. That's what you have come down to almost. So now you're constantly watching the crowd, right? Because in that 1 minute you have to figure out your next song based on their behavior, how they're responding and all that. So I know you said you talked about your brother, you know, he used to focus on English songs, and then you got the opportunity, you focused on Hindi songs. Is that the type of music you usually play, like Bollywood, or are there other regional songs that you...
I was always Bollywood. My brother was always English.
Okay.
And if you remember, you know, back in the early 2000s, even India, you didn't really listen to, like, you went to clubs, you never listened to Hindi music. There was a lot of English music that was prominent. And Hindi music only became cool in 2010 onwards, to be honest. Like, we heard it in our weddings, but we never heard it in the clubs. Very rare, 1-2 songs here, there, as you know, as a token. But the way, I don't know, we looked at the West in such a way that, you know, we always like wanted the English songs to be prominent, and MTV also showed English songs, Channel V also showed English songs that time. And that trend changed in 2010. So I think my brother's time was English, and people wanted to listen to Summer of 69. They wanted to listen to that kind of right side Fred, and, you know, I'm too sexy for my shirt and all that stuff. It was the happening stuff, Madonna and all that stuff. But I think 2010 things started changing, and Hindi songs started becoming cool.
What movies, what songs, how did that happen?
I don't know, maybe Dil Chahta Hai to an extent. That was like 2000 though. But like, I think that's when the trend changed, like in the early 2000s, late 2000s. I don't know, Koi Kahe changed it a little bit, you know.
Okay. Yeah, that was the song where they dance in a pub kind of party, right?
Maybe, and then, you know, obviously after that, like I think 2010, I think the industry grew, and, like, you know, it became cool to dance on Hindi stuff.
Does every DJ have a style? Do you have a style?
Yeah, I mean, every DJ I think has a different style, and I've hosted a few DJs, international DJs in Austin. I've got DJ Akbar Sami, I've got DJ Notorious, two DJs that I opened for, and I hosted them in Austin. And I think Akbar Sami I've done twice, and DJ Notorious once, and they all have their own different style. Now the thing is this, that, you know, the Austin audience, I think I understand better than they would, because I've kind of, you know, been here and played for so long. But for example, a Houston audience is very different. And I recently was DJing in Houston, and I couldn't connect that well with that audience. You know, I try to play the same feel of music that Austin has. But Austin's a very young crowd. It's a very it's a very tech crowd. You know, Houston is a little older crowd, a little different than the way we are in Austin.
So, but what is your style like?
So my style is, I start slow, I build, and then I break it.
Okay.
So like a break song, so I'll pick it up to, like, let's say, for example, Ish, which is like 145. But Ishq se upar kuch hai nahi actually. Matlab, I can't get you to dance anything higher. I can't elevate you higher than Ishq by Sukhbir.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the song.
I don't.
I'm assuming you know the song. Ishq Tera Tadpaave.
Okay.
Very popular Punjabi song. Okay. Or Dholna or something like that. Like, on that level. And then I break it with like a Chhaiya Chhaiya or a Rang Bas Hai. So I'll start at ground zero again. Now Akbar Sami and all these other DJs that I saw, they will stay between 128 and 135 BPM.
Okay.
They will just go between this and that's it throughout the night. There is no high, there is no low. I feel like people never go like people don't go crazy like a Malhari or like a Ishq. People want to be ghati. In short, they want to dance their hearts out. That's what our Indian audience is. So I felt like, these guys don't. I don't know. Everyone has a style, and they're big DJs and they're known all over the world. They probably write in their way, and I probably write in my way. I feel it's just my way because they want to mix seamlessly. I sometimes don't care about mixing seamlessly, just because I feel like for the Indian audience, having the right song at the right time is more important than how well it mixes.
Right.
For EDM, yes, that's true. You can, you want to mix and you want to go up and down, in that, and that's totally fine. And you can easily mix songs in EDM because it's all electronic beats, With Desi, like, yahan pe koi, there is drums going on, there is, something else going on out there. We're varied, right? Because Tollywood is very different, Bollywood is very different, and there's so many different languages and genres, and, it's just crazy.
So now are you only Bollywood or have you expanded the languages at least? Because that's interesting, right? At least Austin, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Dallas, I'm drawing this from Dallas, and Houston, it's a lot South Indian crowd. Do they enjoy Bollywood music?
Indian diaspora or people coming from India has changed drastically, okay? The South was not that prominent till 2010, I would say. Maybe 2015 if I have to go on till, we played 99% Bollywood and maybe some English that time, to mix it up. As times change, I was like, thoda ek Tamil song, sir, ek Tamil song. I said, theek hai. Aapne pode and this and that. I played 1-2 token Tamil songs. And then as time passed, now nearly 15 to 20% of my set is Telugu.
Okay.
And the Telugu crowd in Austin is more dominant than the Tamil crowd. So a lot of Telugu. But let's not get it wrong, they do love Bollywood, and Bollywood is also a part of it. But they do just like anything else, like, you like your regional music for sure. But Bollywood is what connects all of India.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because the Punjabis will say, listen, we want traditional Bhangra, they want Sidhu Moosewalas, they want the AP Dillons. The South will say we want, our music. Kannada will say their music, Malayalam will say their music, Gujarati will say Gujarati music.
Yeah.
If I play every genre from of India, then to
your party will never end, and that's what you want.
Party will never end, and that's the diversity of India.
Yeah.
And I'll have a lot of Punjabis because Punjabis are more vocal and they're very strong in their sentiments. If you get what I say, like, I'll have band show Punjabi dal. And I'm like, sir, India is from Punjab to Kanyakumari.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on between there. I know North is only what you all see, but we have to play and satisfy India.
This is something I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard Tunak Tunak Tun is one of the most popular songs even among American crowd. Is that true?
Yeah. Tunak Tunak Tun is, the video went viral.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you know Daler Mehdi's video on that. It's something like this, and he keeps expanding into 7-8 of him, and I think became a meme, became viral because of that. So people think it's funny. I mean, obviously, then the song caught up because just like the music is great, but yeah, Daler now it's become uncool to listen to Daler in the Indian audience.
You said you have a list of songs, right? Can you tell me, in a party of, what is your average party time, like for the time you play? Is it 2 hours, 3 hours?
So my Bollywood nights, which is our party in Austin, Texas, which we've been doing for the last 8-9 years under this brand name. But before that, we had Desi Dhamaka, which was another brand name. for that we usually start from 9 to 2, so it's a good 5 hours.
How many songs do you go through in that time? And what is like your mix of song with old songs and new, because there is new songs coming every day, right? Like every day from different.
True.
Now you're catering to not just Hindi songs, you're going to Telugu songs, Tamil songs, and all that. So, like, what is like? How do you plan that? What is like your ratio of old songs, new songs? Is there any strategy there? And how many songs? How many songs in that 5 hours?
We have about, let's say, about 200, 220. It's a lot of songs, and so it's very important for us to time when the cream of the songs need to be played, right? So that's the more important part. So I might play some old songs like, I don't know, I'm thinking on top of my head, like, maybe like Bomb Diggy Diggy Bomb, Saki Saki, Dilbar, like, a little old but dancey songs, but they don't have the same impact they had when the song came out. They've lost their importance, but they're still good. So we'll start off with that for an hour. And something I look at is I look at my my app and I'll see how many people have checked in. And depending on how many people have checked in, that's how I navigate my music.
Oh wow!
So at some point of the night, let's say we started at 9:30, maybe about 10:30, 10:45, we will start our core set, which is like the main songs, the prominent songs that I will get everyone to the dance floor. But in the first hour of playing just time pass song like Chammak Challo or just
warming up the
time
floor.
pass songs, it's warming up the floor. It's like you're stretching out, before the run starts, So, but people are there on the floor, they're dancing. I'm not expecting them to go crazy. Do not go crazy at that time.
Okay.
Just stay there on the dance floor, chill, move around, have fun, And then once I start playing the main core set, that's when I start slowly and I pick it up. And at 11:15 we'll be playing our top 1 hour, where from 11:15 to 12:15 to 12:45 is our core, because that's when everyone's there. Otherwise someone's going to be, hey, तूने ये गाना नहीं play किया. I said, भाई आप late आ गए, मैंने play किया था.
So I think after listening to this, if your audience will start coming at that core time, at least they'll have that leeway. First of all, I think Indians are known for that, right? Party में थोड़ा late ही जाएंगे.
To get desi people to come on time is like asking them to find gold. So we've tried many tricks to get them early, and that's more important for us also sometimes, because अपने कल्चर में क्या है, पहले let's pre-drink, so people will have a few drinks at home and then come. By the time they take an Uber and this and that, find parking, come, it's 11:15, right? And they're already little tipsy already by then. So I said, how can we get them to come at 10 o'clock? I'm not saying come at 9, come at 10. So what I would do is I would keep an open bar. 15 minutes, all you can drink in the bar.
Wow, okay.
So I know what will attract people to come early. So that way at least we can plan our set also, right? Like otherwise, we have to start by 10:30 at least, like proper set. And if no one is there, then we can't do it. We'll have to keep pushing till we see 150, 200 people at least to start the set.
So what goes along with DJing? Like how do you ensure the parties are hit? Like one you mentioned was tipsy karte, like, but what is your typical setting of a party that you are throwing or you are DJing?
Like setting in terms of once people are there or to get them there?
So to make it a successful party where people enjoy what kind of parties do people enjoy the most?
I have to say the number one thing is music. Now something that I kind of specialize in is video DJing, which I think I'm the only person in Austin who does it at least.
Okay.
Maybe Texas also. A lot of people do it all over the country. DJ Chetas is one of the pioneers when it comes to that, where the song is playing in the background, the same song that I'm playing. And basically what we're making is we're making MP4s of every song that we're playing.
Okay.
And so now with me, it's always going to be an LED screen in the back. So we have a huge LED screen in the back, which is playing the song. Now think about, dancing to Ho Gaya Tujhse Pyar Sajna from DDLJ. why are you seeing Shah Rukh Khan out there and Kajol in there? So not only am I hitting you on the ears, which is one of your sensory organs, now I'm hitting on your eyes too. So I'm trying to hit you in multiple places so that the dopamine level is high. So there's science behind everything, obviously. So now I'm trying to hit you in different ways.
So, but what other elements are required in, let's say, would you throw a DJ party without alcohol, without drinks, just the party is just about dance? Would that be a hit?
It could be. It's just that it's too risky for me to try that. The few things that I have learned while DJing 400-500 weddings that I've done is that Desi people like darkness. Okay, if there's too much light or if it's bright outside, it doesn't register in our head. We're kind of shy, but once we have a few drinks and it's dark, we open up like a nice sunflow.
And anyone can dance.
We're totally a different beast. Yeah. But we need that atmosphere to be created. So if that atmosphere is not created, people don't come to the dance floor. And we also have herd mentality. Okay? It's like this. If one person is dancing, no one will come and dance. But if 100 people are dancing, 1,000 people want to join them. It's like, ye dance floor packed hai, let's go join them. I'm the opposite. I'm like, no one is dancing, that's when I want to dance because I want my space. But people are not. People like the crowded, that, it's like watching a movie together, right? You're dancing together as a crowd.
But you always have that, so you're saying you always need that some, maybe a little bit alcohol, a bar, to have that, because music and that go hand in hand, kind of, yeah?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who can have a great time without alcohol. Like, I have a friend of mine, and she can have a great time with alcohol. She's never drank alcohol, and she can dance her wits out. But alcohol is just there. If you need it to open up and to be this different person where, your inhibitions are lowered and you can dance your heart out without thinking that anyone's looking at you, then great.
But as a DJ, do you need any kind of alcohol or thing? Or do you not prefer?
I like to be in the same zone as the crowd. So whatever the crowd is, I'm there. But I can't get hammered. I can't be sober at the same time. So I'm pacing myself in a very organic way where at 11:30, 12, I'm as much as the crowd is. I'm not like, because I'm working technically, right? But I like to be a little bit where, I'm moving around myself. I'm not like, I won't be like completely sober, but I won't be completely, drunk.
Sure.
I'll just be in a good state of mind.
Yeah.
But before you finish that, Akbar Sami, for example, doesn't drink at all. He wants chai. So he said, Nish, mujhe achhi chai chahiye. During so he's drinking tea while everyone is drinking alcohol.
So what does it do to him?
And even, I don't know. But I guess once you do like 1,000, 2,000, you can't be drinking it at every party. I don't go drink at every party. I only drink at my Bollywood nights. If I'm DJing a wedding or if I'm DJing a Sweet 16, we're not like, reaching that. It's a whole different feel.
You said, you do that video thing, you provide that video experience. How many people do you need to perform this event, or how many people do you need to do the DJing with all the machines and all the equipment and all that?
So it's me and Anupi, DJ Anupi, who I have worked with for the last 8-9 years. No, actually more. 12 years. I DJed her parents, her father's, I think, 40th birthday, and she was 16, and her parents came up and said after the birthday, saying that, listen, my daughter's really interested in being a DJ. So I was like, yeah, sure, why don't you come and help me out? You'll learn on the job. And so she came and helped me out, and now she's doing her own gigs, and it's like a partnership in Bollywood nights with me and her. So me and her sit and we plan the music out a week before our parties, right? And we kind of analyze after the party also what went right, what went wrong, what can we change, what can we become better. So that's how we do, at least as for Bollywood nights as a group. Then obviously we have sound and lights, from the venues usually, who will the right lighting is important also. It has to give you that feel. The right sound is very important. I'm very particular about the clarity of sound, you know. So these are small things, but they make a difference in the whole presentation.
So how do you ensure it's coordinated with you, the sound and light and all that? How do you communicate while playing?
I mean, the guy who does the lights knows the music, and he's done so many shows that a big DJ will have its own light guy who knows his music so well that he knows when the drops are, he knows when the strobes need to come on with a high EDM feel. But that's something we have to because to get someone to listen to my music first of all, and then know how to use the light console is a process, and it's just not worth the effort.
But don't you control the sound though?
The sound, yes, we'll control the sound, but we don't control the lights.
Okay.
And again, there's sound that comes out of my box, and then there's sound that goes, with the amps and the house sound that goes through the personal controls. There's personal controls that too. We're not blowing up his system.
Okay. So then, how many people in total for the DJing?
I would say there's probably 3 people in terms of DJing, like 2 DJs, 1 sound and light guy, and we have 2 people for the door. It's a pretty small group of people because I've done it so many times. My marketing, that all takes a lot more. I mean, if I would love to go at this DJ party and walk away, but the marketing, the promotion,
that's all a different part.
Yeah, that's the tough part and the fun part also at times.
What do 2 DJs do? Like one is playing, what is the other one doing?
Other one is usually giving me advice. Or with me and Rupi, there's the problem at the door. She'll go and see what's wrong out there. But if she's up with me, she's either on the mic, pumping the crowd up. She's helping me out. She's like, hey, Nish, what do you think about this song right now instead of this? Or I'm like, this is a song I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of going to old school and then, moving into Punjabi. Let's think of a nice 6-7 songs that we can do it with. So it's constant talking. And, people think that, they can come up and talk to DJs. That's the reason we don't want people to come up and talk, because we are thinking constantly while you're thinking of only that one song that you want.
Okay. So do you have to get copyrights for the songs? How does that work?
Yeah, I assume so.
Okay.
I don't know how many people get copyrights for everything.
Yeah. And how do you even get, right? Like there's so many.
Yeah, I mean, Bollywood mein to koi hai nahi aisa proper copyright system only. But for English, for sure there is. And you can buy the songs from iTunes and this and that and play it officially.
Okay.
But I'm sure the top DJs, they probably have to pay royalty straight up.
Okay.
And technically you're supposed to pay royalty. I don't think that there are thousands of DJs in Bombay. I don't think anyone's paying royalty to T-Series.
And
I don't think so.
Yeah. And what's like the biggest party you have thrown of people attending and maybe the size of the venue? I
mean, the biggest party I've organized and DJ'd is been about 1,000 people. We just did it during Holi right now, a week ago. It's called the Bollywood Holi Mela. It was my first organized Holi party that I've organized. I've DJ'd many, but never organized once. This time I organized it, and full thing, we kind of planned it out. The biggest party I've ever DJ'd, about 2,000 people.
Okay.
It was in Greenville in South Carolina, I think. It was a Diwali party, and there were about 2,000.
So you have done this so many times, right? What gets you excited about the next event that you are DJing?
Crowd.
Is it the number of people or?
The number of people.
Okay.
The crowd, the energy from the crowd, If it's a fun crowd, oh my God, you are like ringing till 5 in the morning. Your energy to go to sleep after you come back home at like 3:34 is hard because you're still in that zone of the energy of the crowd. And sometimes the crowd is just so perfect, and it's just like this kind of connection you have, and it's like like a husband and wife connection. for that moment, it just seems perfect, and life seems like, oh my god, can be a rosier picture. You're playing this song, they're dancing properly, they're singing. You put the song down and they're singing the lyrics. You know you got your crowd, and that feeling is the best feeling. And that's what I'm sure gets a lot of DJs want to do it for that, because it's like that dopamine rush, being on stage with so many people dancing to your songs, and just that connection.
Yeah, you're making people dance on your tunes, literally.
For sure we are, but there is a different connection, man. It's like some karmic connection that happens between the DJ and the crowd, and people are just like, I don't know, see, everyone's looking at you, right?
So it doesn't matter even if it's a small crowd, but as long as the crowd is charged and excited and having fun, that's what gets you excited.
Correct. Like, I mean, like in a weddings now, you get 300-400 people. You won't get like the 700-800 people that we get for Bollywood nights. But if the crowd is there, like, they just, they're there to have a good time. They want to dance. They're not here to see, अरे इसने ये गाना नहीं play किया, उसने वो गाना नहीं play किया. नहीं, जो play करना है, enjoy and get in the moment. And obviously, it's a DJ's job to get them there.
So I didn't ask you this earlier, but you have a day job. Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, so it's DJ Nish by night and DJ Nish by day. So it's a day trader by day and DJ Nish by night is the way I put my Twitter handle is, or my Twitter description is.
And which gig do you enjoy the most? Because at one side you're making money. That's a different high, live money.
Both sides, both sides are extremely enjoyable, and it's a dopamine high, right? That's something very common in both. And I've obviously analyzed this, in a way, because I'm not good at anything else in this world, okay? I'm good at trading and I'm good at DJing, and there's nothing else that I'm good at. And if I'm not good at something, I don't do well at it at all. So I kind of realized that what really gets me going, I feel like it's like these small dopamine rushes that even a trader, a day trader goes through, and there's big drops also, because when you lose a ton of money, it's a gut-wrenching feel, which many people will not go through in their lifetime. But we go through, maybe 3 or 4 times, and there's 3 or 4 times when you go through this adrenaline rush, which very rare people go through. And the same thing comes with DJing also. Sometimes when your party bombs, and it's just gut-wrenching. Like, if you're DJing a wedding and people are not dancing, like, you're playing the songs that you think they should dance on, but लोग वो wedding में dance करने आए ही नहीं थे. They just came to eat and they were leaving. That's what they came for. Or they wore really heavy clothes and stilettos. And Indian weddings are not made for proper dancing anyways. Our saris are 2.5 kgs and then they wear heels. Kaun nachega iske andar, So it's tough sometimes, because I take it very seriously that if I'm DJing someone's wedding, I'm creating memories for life for them, right?
Okay. Let's say you have to pick one profession out of the 2 that you love and you're good at. Which one would you pick and why?
Good question, man. I have to be a day trader, man, because it makes more money. Second, I do like it. I've done it for 18 years and haven't been burnt out here.
And this was your first job right out of college, right?
Yeah, this is my first and only job ever.
First and only. And DJ, you stumbled upon being a DJ. You never planned to be a DJ. Was that right?
Yeah. So, the thing with this career of trading is that it's a very hard career in terms of very less people really make it. And the longevity of the career is, there is really no, like, you can say, these guys work for 25 years in tech and this is how much money they made. We don't have that in the proprietary trading field. Like, either people who have done well are still doing it, and the people who haven't done well are somewhere else. We don't know only. Like, what is the backup? We never knew that. So that's one point. But the second point is that it takes about 18 months to be profitable in this business, if you can.
Oh, okay.
So the amount of people that make it as a trader in my firm is about 23%.
Okay.
So after every 100 people that we hire, only 23 people come out somewhat positive, and from that maybe 5 people come out to be 6 and 7 figure traders. So when I started, right, it took me at least a year to make any kind of paycheck. And as you go in this career, and you obviously make money, but you can never spend the money because you never know which month or which year is going to be a bad year. So the DJing business was a good backup where it was confirmed money. I'm doing this wedding, itne paise milne wale, so at least I have that backup. Okay, you know what? If I don't do well at this month, I'm getting some money from my DJing business.
Correct.
So that's how I continued doing the DJing business and growing it, and wherever it went. But it was always a second business. My first business was always trading. And then slowly, as you start collecting some retirement money and some savings and this and that, then I was like, you know what? Now I'll DJ because I'll do it for the love of DJing. Like, I'll do it because what I love to do, and I love doing my parties. I love doing big events where there's a lot of people, because that gives me a high, it gives me a dopamine rush.
We were talking before the recording, right? I will definitely want to get you for your trading business or trading job / business and talk about it. But yeah, getting back to DJ. So one thing you mentioned was, how DJing is different, how the crowd reactions are different. They go from 3 minutes to now 1 minute attentions, and they want change and all. What are the other things that you have observed over your career as a DJ?
I feel like a lot of nostalgia works a lot. Like if I can play some really old school stuff that people don't expect and they grew up on, that I think has become, and you can see that trend in Bollywood itself, right? Like they've remixed old school songs from Chura Ki Dil Mera to Tamma Tamma to Aakh Mare to all that, right? So there is something that they also know and tap it. Okay, if I hit this nostalgia part, it connects with the crowd. So I feel that is something which is always, which is there, and has changed recently in the last 5-7 years. Like old school has worked way more than it used to. I think over time, Austin has itself changed a lot with a lot of different types. Like earlier, when Austin was there, it was pretty much the 4 metros that people came from. It was either Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, and Bangalore, and Dubai. I'll take Dubai also as a metro of India only. So people came from there. But now, we're getting a lot more people from smaller towns, from Hyderabad, Hyderabad is no way a small town these days, but a lot of like tier 2 cities. I think a lot of people coming from there. We don't get the same population that come from Bombay and Delhi anymore. So that also has changed a little bit, the way crowd reacts to that, and Austin has been a very young crowd always. So they know the newer music, and they're into, they listen to what's trending on TikTok and Insta and all that stuff. So, they understand what is trending also a little bit. So those few things, we just have to see and move with time.
How do you keep learning? Are there new things to learn in this business as a DJ?
Oh yeah. Because just like technology, right, with AI and everything is kind of, innovation is happening constantly in hardware and software, right? I mean, the latest thing I'm using right now is something called stems, which is like, earlier the software would, like let's say you're playing a track and you take out the vocals and just have the beats in the back of the track. Like track is not working out. I'm like, I want to quickly mix it out without disturbing the song. I'll just like press this, cut the low vocals, and I could mix the track out. And that was doing a software level. Now the DJ console has stems inbuilt in it, where you can just press a button and it will take out the vocals. It can take out the drums. It can take out the instruments. It can take out all that stuff. So it's like, that's the new stuff which I'm looking at. I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool.
Yeah, mostly the learning is around technology, right? On how to handle the equipment.
Yeah.
But how do you how do you keep up with the latest trends in music?
I mean, obviously you have to love music, right? So I'm a big Bollywood buff, and so listen to all the latest music that comes out and see what's catching. Go to YouTube, see the song, see how many million views it has. go to Geo Savan and see what's trending out there. So it's a kind of a mixture of everything to see what's trending. I ask people also, hey, what songs do you guys like? What song do you guys will listen to? People who I know, they give me some stuff. Like I won't know every Telugu song that's coming, which is new. So I'll ask my Telugu friends for that. I'll ask my Tamil friends for that. I'll ask my hardcore Bhangra friends, like, hey, listen, what's trending in Bhangra right now? And then I'll go listen to it and I'll make my own judgment, like, hey, will this work at a party? Because some things could be very niche, you could like some artist, but that artist is only big in 15, 20 people out there. But I'm catering to 600 people out there. So I need something that at least overlaps 50 to 60% of the crowd should know the song. Because if you don't know the song, you won't very little dance.
And now you have data, right? You said you have views you can see on YouTube. The reels get viral, and then you pick up that music. So in your industry, or in DJ, the profession, is there an advantage for younger DJs or more experienced DJs? Like how in tech field, experience matters, but as new technology comes, they prefer youngsters more, right? Those coming right out of college. How is that in your scenario? As maybe as a business also, like, do they prefer more experienced DJs? Or
I think experience matters for sure. I think I would put that up, because if you've seen different situations, different crowds, you know how to adapt to that crowd. You can recognize a crowd better. We are bloody doing what AI does. We're just recognizing. We have the data sets in our head, and it's like, oh, this is that data set. Play this. A set. So that's what we do technically. I'm sure AI will eventually start, taking videos of the crowd and saying, this is the data set and this is the songs that work that time. And therefore, this same data set, these songs should work in the future. Obviously, you have to move with technology. I feel like, you can't be sitting and DJing off CDs. Those days are gone. You either, DJ off vinyls, which is, hard, it's work, but people do it still because the clarity of music, still we haven't reached there. We do a lot of MP3s, but we do like 320 kbps, so like, high quality MP3s. So that's something which I'm very particular about. 128 used to be the norm, which is like the CD quality, which if I make you hear, you're like, yeah, this sounds pretty bad, yeah. So now we try to like, make the sound crisp, and it's so digital anyways these days that if you can get the right source of the song, it's important. So yeah, just finding songs, finding the right, and honestly, I mean, all DJs play remixes, but to find the right remix is where I think I have an edge, right? I think I have a good year to realize that ye mix acha hai. It's not, a mix should enhance the song and not just because it's a remix we should play it, right? Like a good remix is like Aapmar, for example. When they came with a new Aapmar mix, that really worked. But not every mix works, and I feel like some songs don't need to be mixed. Like a Chaya Chaya, you can't make an EDM mix of it. Like it has to have that raw feel of Chaya Chaya. That emotions I can't take out from that song. So I'm pretty particular about what mix to use and what not to use. I might listen to about 40 mixes of the same song and I'm like, find that one that connects with me and like, yes, I use.
So let's say for someone starting new, and in your profession in DJing, right? What tips would you share on how to get started? How much time do they need to learn? All that.
I mean, I'll only tell you about Bollywood and the Desi scene because that's what my specialty is. And I would say to learn might be about 6-8 months. It's how many parties you can do in 6-8 months. As you start doing more and more parties, it becomes like second nature to you. Your hands will move automatically. But what to learn the most, I feel, is which song to play at what time, and what the crowd wants, right? Like a lot of DJs will play, like there's raw, earthy Indian songs, like Banno Tera Swagger, for example, or Saddi Gali, London Thumakda. They're raw, right? A Bacha song is different. It's a hip hop. It's a very different art, like rock and roll, like not rock and roll, but R&B feel to it. So I like to mix earthiness together.
Hmm.
You know, there's songs that evoke different feelings, like a Rubaru, like Masti Ki Pathshala, like Subha Hone Na De. There are songs that evoke a different feeling, so I try to get them together.
Hmm.
So these are things that I feel like maybe this is what my USP is, that I kind of see these things, and maybe it's because of the years of DJing, and I've realized that this, if I can evoke a feeling in you, either it could be an earthy feeling, like desi, apna desi feel to it, and then there is a Masti Ki Pathshala, or that's like college, a little more like freedom ka feel to it. I don't know how to explain these feelings very well.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think what one interesting thing you're saying is, though it's a party and people are dancing, it has to evoke feelings at different stages,
Yeah.
and maybe
Correct.
about your past
The
or
journey.
their journey. Yeah,
And I don't think the crowd thinks that way.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
It's very like, it has to be a very organic
Yeah.
way. I can't say like, I can't thusify it to you that, hey, you have to feel like my last song for every party for the last, I would say 18, 19, 20 years, I think, it's been Maa Tujhe Se.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. It's my last song every party of mine. World here, world there. वो गाना तो play हो ही गया, and everyone knows it. And they all, and I'll go stand on up, and I'll be like in my salute, and you go to see the videos of these, right? And everyone's goosebumps are like just, I'm evoking something in them, and evoking myself also after so many years of doing it. That feeling is the same every time I listen to that song, and that song is played, and we all stand, and you got to see the people's faces. I wish I could, there's videos of I have, but it won't give justice. But like the emotions, it's like you're watching a cricket match, like and like people are like like in tears, and like there's one day, like everyone's going with their hands out, and like it's something else.
How did this become a tradition?
I don't know, yeah. I always want to bring some India.
Hmm.
Because we all came from India, and we all missed our motherland, and we all missed the music and the food, and this, again, a lot of that stuff was not available easily. Now it is, but everyone has that. The place you were born is your Matrubhumi. That feel though is there only. Whichever you might be. I'm here for the last 24 years. More of my sensible life is in America, but I was born in India. मेरी मातृभूमि वही है, कर्मभूमि यहाँ पर है. But so that feel is there, यार. अपनी मिट्टी, you walk out of the plane, you can smell India, like good, bad, whatever it is, but it's that smell that brings you nostalgia. So there's these certain things, which, and Maa Tujhe Salam brings that emotion. There's many other songs, but that song brings some kind of emotion.
So do you think the audience here, because they're away from their motherland, and I don't know if you have DJed in India, in Mumbai or any other cities wherever you're from, do you think the audience here enjoys it more? Because it's rare, right? I think it's more common back home, where you listen to this music all the time. Somewhere you encounter it, some party you go, more parties, things like that.
I mean, I have DJed in Bombay a little bit for weddings and this and that. And the one big change or difference is what I see is that people out here don't know the latest songs. Like the movie has to come out, and then then people out here will know it. They won't know something that's released as a promo. Like I have to let it marinate. The movie has to come out, and then they'll know it. In Bombay and all, they know the song, and they you have to play it right then and there. So the difference is like and then out here SRK rules the NRI crowd. They love like even the AB series, the people who are born and brought up out here. Their parents have watched Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum and Kal Ho Na Ho so much that these kids have fallen in love with those movies. So those songs work in even the weddings, out here. A lot of those SRK stuff.
Yeah, because those were the movies that would have probably released back then. Now almost every movie releases, or at least a lot more than what used to happen back then.
So you see all these trends, and obviously, SRK itself, like if I'm playing an SRK song, like I'm playing Chaya Chaya in my party, and SRK comes on the screen, and there's a loud cheer. It's like how Dhoni walks to the stadium. the same cheer comes for SRK on screen. Doesn't come for, might come for Salman, but that's it. Like Hrithik can come, anyone can come out on the screen.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same thing. SRK has something that only he has, and Rajnikant.
Yeah, I know people, my wife and her family, all are fans of SRK since, and they were
Yeah,
like,
yeah. There's something to it. Yeah.
and then so coming to a little bit of business part of your DJing career, can you describe the events, like what is required, how do you conduct those, like how do you throw those parties, venue, tickets, how do you figure out all of that?
Yeah, see, that's the part which I wish were a little automated in some way. But it starts from I do my Instagram publicity.
Okay.
I run ads on Facebook. I run ads on Insta to reach as many people as I can. Anyone who is interested in Bollywood and wants to dance, I should be able to reach them. So we do targeted advertising out there. We put posters in all Indian restaurants and Indian grocery store. We keep postcards out there. So I have a whole way of the way I do publicity. We have our own group called Bollywood Nights ATX on Instagram. I also have Desi Parties Austin on Facebook. So we have 6,000 people following us out there, a few thousand people on Insta. I have email addresses from everyone who's bought tickets. So it's about 3,500 people email list. So we keep pumping all that together. And now, with the grace of God and touch wood, is that there's certain kind of brand loyalty that's happened with Bollywood Nights as a party. So that's also there. The legacy is going on, and so that's also scary because we have to perform every time well, and we do 5 or 6 of them in a year. But the publicity is all that. Then comes all these. We have our tickets on Eventbrite and Eventbrix. These two. Eventbrix is a local ticketer, and then we go and reserve the whole venue because that's a tough part for us. Like we can't go through a party in any venue because when you take Saturday night and you play Desi music, they lose their crowd for that Saturday night, right? Because the normal crowd was coming for English music, and there's none of that. So most people will not rent us a club, but the venue ATX is where we throw our parties in, which is like more like a freelance venue. So we reserve that. We pay a fee for it, and then the tickets will kind of compensate for it, and then the bar tab will compensate for it, and that's how it works.
Okay. And so, what is like the time frame you have to plan? Let's say you want to throw next party. How far out do you have to reserve that date, and then do all this publicity?
I mean, there's a lot of Bollywood parties now in Austin, so you want to get your date out quickly, so at least a month before, so that if someone else is planning, they at least know this is my date, and so they can either move a few weeks up and down if possible. And sometimes there's a conflict, and we might be on the same date, and that creates a mess for both of us, for both the parties. It happened, especially for Holi. There was like I don't know, like 6-7 parties. So we all were stepping on each other's feet, toes out there. But luckily, the parties went. I think everyone's parties went good, and Austin's become such a big market now. I feel like you could have 2 Bollywood parties on the same weekend and it works.
Yeah, nobody serves South Austin where I'm from. Yes, there's one whole market here. I know people think there are not many people, but I think there are now.
There are, and obviously we do it downtown, so we are right in central. So we get south and north crowd, and people like to come downtown because that's their one chance to come downtown. Otherwise, there's no really reason for them to come downtown. So they come and experience, and we're on 6th Street, right? We're right in the bang of downtown and of the craziness. So it's a good experience for everyone who comes. Also, like 6th Street is buzzing, and it's a fun experience.
So this is all now, right? Where you're doing so much publicity through social media, all that. But back then, when you started, how did you plan these events? What kind of costs went into it, and even cost today? Can you talk about that?
The biggest cost for most people is the DJ and the venue, right? The venue is about $8,000 to $9,000.
Okay. Per night?
Yeah. But it's like a bar tab, right? If you hit your bar tab, then you pay the difference. Right?
What does that
So it'll be $10,000 bar. So for example, a bar will say, listen, you know what, my bar tab is $10,000. If they drink $10,000 worth of liquor, then you don't pay anything. But if they hit $8,000 worth of liquor, then you pay the difference of $2,000. So it works a lot on bar sales. Or some bars will take an initial charge, like maybe $1,500, and then do a bar tab. So everyone has different ways and different rules. DJs, obviously, because we are DJs and we are the organizers, so we don't really pay ourselves as such. What are the profits of the parties are split with me and Anupi. But there's not about the small costs here. There's door costs. We have like 2 door girls. They charge $150 each.
For checking the tickets.
Photographer, checking the tickets. It becomes pretty crazy at the doors. When the line becomes like 50-60 people standing in line and Desis don't want to wait and want to get in, it can get pretty.
You have to
pretty crazy.
Hire security and stuff.
There is security hired and everything also. Photographers are hired, but majority of our cost is publicity. And to run a party, it's a good. Whatever your profits are, it should be about 20-25% of your. Whatever your revenue is, 25% should be your cost from that. So 75% is probably profit if you do if everything goes correct. Like, listen, man, it can rain and everything can go bust. You don't hit your bar tab, and you could be paying from your pocket. So everything changes out there.
Do you have to get insurance and all that stuff to organize?
Yeah, you have to get 1-day insurance for the event, which is about $250-$300.
But yeah, so you said costs are roughly 30% compared to overall revenue. Yeah, of course, bad days and where you pay out of pocket. What about your equipment cost? Is that a one-time investment plus even transporting your equipment to the venue, all that?
Yeah, so like the club which I do it in, like the venue ATX, they already have all the equipment.
Okay.
So other than taking my DJing, mixer and my laptop, there's not much that we take. But if we're doing a wedding and all, yes, of course, we have speakers and this and that, and we own some and we rent some.
Okay.
Because the problem is that where to keep everything also, and you need a warehouse, and then things get spoiled. You say, "Acha, just rent it out," and it's their hassle from there on.
So is there like minimum amount of money you look at making when you do these events? Let's say your biggest event,
course,
Bollywood Nights, the brand that you have built.
We never, touch wood, never lost money till today on any of our parties. And the thing with us that if it doesn't go that good, we just don't pay ourselves that much, right? Because a lot of people who do parties are not DJs; they hire DJs. So that's one of their costs that we can eat up as a business. But I've never done it really for the money as such. The money obviously is good, and it helps and pays for vacations and school fees and this and that, and it's good pocket money. But I do it for the pure joy of doing a perfect event, like the experience. And for myself, because I enjoy being on stage and that dopamine rush that I get from seeing people happy. That's the only 2 reasons I do it for.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier that if you had to choose between DJing and trading, you would choose DJing. You would choose trading. And I'm like, you said there are higher margins here. There are probably, you said 75% margins here. But I think the volume and that's different.
No, see, listen, if I do it every weekend, the margins are not going to be the same. I do it every 2 months. I do 5 or 6, a year. So that's why the margins stay where they are. As a whole, the revenues are not that much, over a whole period of a year. And let me tell you, things have changed drastically in the last 3-4 years. Pre-COVID and post-COVID, Bollywood parties changed drastically for me. I used to get 400-450 people and I would be ecstatic. I was like, oh my god, ye to bahut log aa gaye is time. Fast forward to post-COVID, we're getting 650-700 people. and we are sold out every party till touch wood till now, which has changed drastically. There's good 250 people that were never part of my parties that I started coming.
Is that because more people moved to Austin? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, a mixture of few things. I think to start off with, it was COVID and the frustration of staying at home and like able to get out. I remember the first party we threw, we did 50% capacity and all that kind of stuff, and we got sold out pretty quickly. And I was like, oh wow, this is like crazy. I'm like, this never happened before. I was like, you know what? Maybe because of COVID, people just want to get out and do something. So
Yeah.
my last party before COVID was on Feb 28th. Just before COVID hit. Like COVID was like, there was news that China mein ye kuch chal raha hai. And we were like, हाँ China में चल रहा है यार, यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. And 1 week later, we were pretty much in lockdown. So in that 1 week, we had 500 people partying in a closed room. To 1 week later, everyone's like, life is closed. It was like, we're like, oh my god, did we just dodge a bullet? And actually, I had my Holi party planned on March 15th or something. Obviously, we had to cancel that one. But things changed in that much time.
And how long was that period where you couldn't do any DJing event since COVID hit?
I would say at least 2.5 years. Yeah, I retired. I thought this is done. I'm over with. But we were doing nothing at home, so we did virtual DJing events. I was DJing from my media room upstairs, and we did like an hour of our set, and people were tuning in and listening and everything. And I was like, oh, this is great. And we were raising money for some cause and this and that, and donate to this cause. So we did a lot of that kind of stuff during the pandemic. And then once we came out of pandemic, I think the first party we did was in maybe end of 2022. We did 50% capacity, and from there onwards the parties became bigger and bigger and bigger as capacity increased.
Yeah, I did my first episode with an event planner, and her business boomed during pandemic. The reason being, so she,
Which one is this?
Ankita, there's a person I did. So her business boomed because people were not traveling anymore, right? They couldn't travel. So they were celebrating all sorts of events, birthdays, weddings. They were celebrating it much more than usual because they had to spend that money they collected, not travel.
Yeah.
So hers were not as.
Yeah, I mean, we got really busy once life became normal. But then, the problem with me was that for 2.5 years of not DJing, I kind of lost interest in doing smaller events, which my theory is either you give me a lot of people or you give me a lot of money. So the two ways that excites me, and I'll be honest on that. So I love, I'll do if it's a big audience, that's what gets me happy. Or you give me some, give me good money, and that's what makes me happy. But I stopped doing the small, events like the graduation parties and the 1-year-old birthdays and everything. So
what are the different
I do more
different events do you do now apart from your own parties?
Like we did a Holi party this time. Obviously, Bollywood nights is one of my parties. I've done 400-500 weddings, sweet 16s, 1-year-old birthdays, 25th anniversaries, 60-year-old birthdays. Done some Shadi.com weddings.
Shadi.com weddings, what's that?
A long time back, like two people who met in Shadi.com got married. That time was a big deal.
Okay.
LGBTQ weddings. That's always nice to see. A lot of interesting stories come out from all these weddings.
So mainly it's weddings and your parties, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I did a 50th birthday in Houston right now. Then I did a sweet 16 in San Antonio. So it's even that. It's just how big do people want to do their stuff, right? Some people want the best. Some people, DJing is like a buffet, right? Like, there's so many different types and different price ranges. And it's like food, right? You can get a good $6, $3 power also. but you can also get a really nice sushi from Uchi. It's what do you want. It both tastes great. It depends what palate you have, right? If you want the best, it comes with experience. It comes from a very exotic place. It knows it's, they're better at certain things. Or you go with, what your budget is. So it's all depends on, it's unlimited.
Are there side income streams that you have created being a DJ? Maybe, not directly DJing, but leveraging that?
No, I really haven't, and probably I could, and I've never taken this business very seriously. I've always taken it in, oh, it's fun for me to do it. I enjoy doing it. I'm doing it. The day I don't enjoy it is the day I stop doing it.
So, what are the other ways you could? You didn't do it, but you could.
I mean, you can start getting into event planning a little bit, and kind of do that kind of situation. You could even rent out equipment that you own. I mean, a lot of people become like, middleman between a dholi and, they give all these different services that is really not part of a DJ's. Like, they'll give you, cold showers, and, there'll be middleman for a lot of these, LED screens and this and that, and they'll take commission. I like to be more pure with my profession. I'm like, listen, I'm the DJ. You want this? You want a dhol guy? I'll give you the dhol guy's number. If you want cold sparkles, if you want to go through me, yes, surely go through me. Obviously, I'll charge you for that. But if you want to save money, and I do it with all my clients, if you want to save money, go talk to them directly. They'll give you a better price. You know who they are. And I prefer doing that also because I hate taking responsibility for a third person. Because I'm very professional when it comes to mine. I come out, I come early, I set up, I keep half an hour buffer just in case anything goes wrong. I like to work in a certain manner, and then I can't control other people.
Right. Yeah. And you have another job too, and you have family and all that, so much time.
Yeah. And so, I have to think about, right? And so I said, it has to be something very satisfying for me to do and enjoy. Then I go ahead and do it. It just can't be purely about the money. It has to be a little bit more of what I enjoy doing now. Because again, I've done it for a long time.
So, would you be able to give us a range of how much you make from this profession? Or maybe tell us without telling us directly how much you make from DJing profession?
See, like a very busy DJ who DJs maybe for 45 weekends in a year can end up making somewhere between, I would say, 100K or 120K.
Oh.
Right? If you're busy throughout, right? And then you have an odd, you're DJing maybe a couple times on some weekends, maybe doing maybe 60, 65 gigs. You can probably average making $1,500 per gig in profit, I think, after all that. And then maybe $2,000 actually, if you're a proper DJ, because you have all these services that are attached to it, with sound and lights and everything, and people want, they want everything, then, the profit margins are there in the business. It's just how much you want to work. It all depends on that. So like someone is really wants to, take every gig that they get. Like I won't take every gig I get. I'm like, listen, either you pay me this much or I'll suggest you some people who have less experience and they will be in your price range, very nicely. It's just like how many hours you want to put in, because it gets pretty taxing, right? If you're like Adopi actually, we did a holy party on Saturday. So we were working from 10 in the morning because we were setting up the holy party. By the time we finished, it was about 10:30, 11 in the night. We had to close up and wrap up. She woke up at 5:30 in the morning to set up for a barat, which is a mobile barat. From both barat, she went straight into the ceremony. From ceremony, she went to reception. She came home at 2 in the morning after you pack up and this and that. So I was like, man, I can't do that. I've done my stint of, going to sleep at 2, 3 in the morning, waking up for the next day. There's a lot of travel also. It's a fun profession also. You can travel a lot because you do weddings in in exotic places like Cancun. I've done weddings in Mexico. I've done weddings in South Carolina. One weekend, I did a Diwali party in South Carolina, and then I flew all the way to Mexico to DJ another wedding. So I mean, I didn't sleep that weekend because I was constantly either traveling or I was DJing.
Interesting.
So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, those are the perks as well. Traveling.
Perks, and yeah, I mean, if you're young and you don't have a family and you don't have all that stuff that comes along with it, then yeah, it is a perk.
Yeah.
But otherwise, then it's like you're coming back home and then you're like, listen, this is your baby, start taking care of it. So it's like
No, I understand. Yeah. So, what is like general entrepreneurial advice would you give someone being an entrepreneur in both professions, a day trader and a DJ?
Yeah, I mean, see, I've always been an entrepreneur in my life in terms of like always, I mean, I have a real estate business also. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff, and I feel like I tell everyone is that if you love what you do, if you have the passion to do it without anyone paying you a single dime, then that's the profession you want to do. Because when you love something that you do, you'll always do well at it eventually. You'll always make good money at it eventually. It might not come maybe in the year 1, year 2, year 3, but eventually, if this is what you love and you stay at it and you have the passion for it, like people always say, like I tell my wife all that, if the stock market was open on Saturday, Sunday, I would wake up and trade that day also. But so that's the kind of love you have for the profession, and that's the only way to do it in my head. If you love something that you do and you're passionate about it, follow it till as long as you can.
Interesting. And a lot more Bollywood questions and all I could ask you, but I think I covered a lot of stuff and I really enjoyed the conversation, Nishant, or DJ Nish. But thank you for your time, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on this. I've done a lot of podcasts about my trading, but this is my first podcast about being a DJ. So thank you so much, because I've never really spoken about this, and made me realize a few things myself with the way I think. Sometimes it just comes organically to you and you don't write it down, and when you're speaking it, you're like, oh, really? I do all that? Doesn't seem like, but you do. Yeah,
you shared a ton of insights, right, on moving the crowd, how to throw nice parties and stuff. But yeah,
and I always tell other DJs too that are coming in, and I'm like, these are my tricks. I do have a few tricks, and I'm like, these are tricks that I've worked in the past. Feel free to use it. And I love sharing information, because that's how the world works. If you don't share, I also learned from someone else only. Nothing comes automatically. Thoda yahan se chura ke you make your own thing. Might as well give it to someone else also.
And this one question, and very stupid maybe or generic question, do you listen to loud music all the time? Does that happen?
I do.
Okay.
I do listen to loud music. Not all the time.
Like while playing.
But that so is given. But even in my car, if I'm alone and the mood aa gaya, to fir it is loud. I have to feel it. And no one else in my family listens to loud music, but that's why I'm alone. I listen to some.
How do you protect your ears?
I don't. That's something that helps in a marriage, though, because you're half deaf. So those things help in marriage.
But thanks, Nishant. Great conversation. I really enjoyed.
My pleasure, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Very sweet.
That was a fun conversation. What do you think? My key learning was how Nishant diversified his source of income through DJing, as his job as a day trader was risky, especially on those early days until he established himself. I think this is a really good strategy in this day and age, where we need to diversify our sources of income, because we can't rely on just one job or one way of earning. What was your learning? Share with me if you are listening on YouTube or Spotify by dropping a comment. Reach out to me at pod.dhustlers@gmail.com or connect via Instagram at dhustlerspod. Thank you for tuning in. My next episode is with a dance teacher turned entrepreneur, and if you don't already know, I release an episode every alternate Monday. Hope you look forward to it. Thank you.